This boat is going to make a lot of sense for a lot of people.
Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
Let me explain why. It's a multi-mission boat. It's a multi-configuration boat. It's got, in my opinion, Americanized social spaces, and it's a freaking awesome offshore hull, ladies and gents. This is the Wellcraft 28 T-Top. My name's Dan Jones. You're watching Dan's Boat Life, and welcome to, well, just north of Sarasota. I'm actually not too sure what this place is called. South of Tampa, north of Sarasota, bloody beautiful backgrounds. This bloke here seems to have his own private island. It's amazing. I've just been looking at it through the drone. Everything's really, really nice. We're surrounded by manatees and dolphins, so it's quite the spot to come to for the day. So, ladies and gents, I'm excited about this one. This is a really, really interesting piece of kit, and I'm going to say it right now. I think this could be one of the most exciting hulls for a multi-mission boater that I'm going to be on this year, because I've been feeling it this morning, and that's the impression it's giving me. Let me expand on those points. Multi-mission. This is a boat that you could fish from it. You could socialize from it, use it as a day boat. It could be an overnight boat, or it could be a tender if you need. Multiple configurations. This actual configuration has got the L-shaped lounge out back here, and I want you to pay attention to the beam we have available to us on what is a 28-footer. So this is what a lot of us would ordinarily consider or expect to see on a lunch boat. Beautiful, comfortable, but you can option this with a central sun lounge down the center line, just here, storage beneath it, and then you have access on both port and starboard to get out back onto the transom. And you can also set it up as a fishing boat. So you can have kill tanks, live bait storage, and flip down seats. So this is much more of an activity space out back. We can put roof racks, or we'll be able to put roof racks at some point as an option up on the top. You can put all your boards and your toys up there, and the available space to lounge and space to move is awesome. And we'll get up the front in a second as well, because it's like nothing that you've seen before on some of the adventure boats of this size, because they've done the space thing in a completely different way. So that's really interesting, and that leads me to my Americanized social spaces. On many of these more European style adventure boats that I've tested, they're narrower, there's less space, less headroom to move around, and the gunnels are much lower and smaller. So what you can't do is sit on them all the way around. So this whole vibe, moving your way around the boat and just plonking your butt on the gunnel anywhere you need to, is less of an option from everyone sitting around in a circle and socializing and enjoying the space perspective. So I like that. I think that's really cool. The head space and the lounging up on the bow is also excellent, because what they've done, whilst it's a cutting bow, twin air step, deep V, proper offshore hull, they've actually flared it out. Once it's entered at the waterline and then it goes up, it flares out a little bit more and allows us a proper bow lounge. And we'll get to it later in this tour, where Nick, who's 6'2", is up there at the moment, and he's got heaps of space. So even the big blokes and the tall blokes can walk in and around and underneath this T-top. Everyone feels good. So I like that from the Americanized social spaces, and also from the offshore running. We've run this boat for 4.5 hours so far today. The wind's blowing. We're getting some good short, sharp chop. We're getting some white caps on the bay, and we've been out in the sea as well. What's this called now? The Gulf of Mexico. No, the Gulf of America. Sorry, that's what it's called. And it's chopping up out there, and we were ripping along with the waves on the beam on both sides, doing 35 mile an hour, not getting wet at all. This is what you see. There's no water after our test drive, so that's great. And I also feel that any of you who are going to be entering and exiting at a bar with some funky conditions, you're going to have less tendency to stuff the bow with this particular design. So that's interesting. Anyway, let's get touring. Come out the back here. Beautiful big transom. You can easily walk across. We've got the twin engine, the twin 200s, multiple engine options going all the way up to a single 425 if you wish, and you can go down to I think even a single 300 if you choose as well. But this is a lot of fun, and we did over 50 mile an hour. That's the next video for those of you who want to see what this boat drives. You can click on that at the end of this demonstration. So we have got our telescopic swim ladder for boarding after a swim on the port side out back here. Your shore power just pops in over there on the starboard side, but on the port side we have our freshwater shower. This door, the kid and doggy door, opened in, but I've actually left the dive door open because I wanted to show you that, because I think it's super cool, because that's another thing you don't see on these, I suppose, adventure style boats. Pop-up cleats, easy, and this is great. Pay attention to the height of these gunnels. It is noticeable, because when you're offshore, that's going to make a difference from a fishing perspective, but this is super handy, and it actually has its own storage area, so the whole thing can actually just collapse, boom, and stow. Don't worry about the water because it's all going to drain out on deck, boom, and it actually just stows in here. So it's got its own little, let me get this right. I think it goes that way, and it just boom, like so. That's handy, and there is another strap for that to hold it in rougher conditions. Okay, so you've got a manual bilge pump just there, and that's the kid and doggy door, which opens like so. And this space is super usable. I love having the corner, because this is going to be one of my favorite seats in the house. But if you need to store anything, that's a logical place for fenders, lines, extra bits and pieces. But there's a proper cabin, so you can put all your mates' bags and bits and pieces in the cabin. There is a head, and there's a possibility in some of the other configurations, because you don't have to just have this configuration. There is a full cabin version, and there is also an open version, and there is a half windscreen version as well. So depending on what part of the world you're in, you can actually pick the style that suits you the most, and that suits, I guess, your mission, which is like the terminology I always like to use. But this is great. I love that we've got the Barbie station in the middle of the boat, super social. We've got storage, drawers. They are made of plastic from what I can see, and Vera Frigo fridge just there. It's an optional Barbie just here, and then we have the freshwater tap for making your drinks and washing up just there. Drink holders, proper size, and you'll be able to get a tinny with a cooler, and it is drained, so we've got 4 of them on either side. This just here, if you haven't seen, that's actually for deploying a fender. The rub rails on the side on this boat are awesome, and they've actually been done in quite a stylish manner. So we have got the primary rub rail at the waterline aft, wrapping around both corners. Let me just close that dive door. Wrapping around both corners at the back, which is going to save your butt at the marina. So I love that. But then in quite a stylistic manner, they've actually reduced the size of the rub rail at the gunnel in this location, where it's not really a high impact area anyway. And then forward, from midships forward, we get a big chunky one again. I think it looks cool. I like the concept, I like the idea behind this, and functionally that's going to allow you to bump up against some poles if you've got some tide ripping, and then use the boat and your engines to be able to maneuver yourself into position. So that's super, super handy. Another thing that I really, really like, if you have a fixed dock, for example, so it's not one that goes up and down with the tide, or if you're boarding onto your other boat and it's just bigger, you're going to utilize these stairs. So that's super handy. It's also a nice place to jump in the water. However, if you're going to be running all your toys, you're probably going to store them up here. So see this? look how, a couple of things going on here. See how I didn't hit my head? So see how the roof line here, you can put the step here, use that there, and then if you want to get all the way up, you can go up this ladder and operate as you see fit. So I see a lot of options for utilizing this roof. You know, if you were keeping the boat on a swing mooring, I might chuck one of those solar panels, one of those ones that you can, the soft ones, just for a little trickle charge onto my primary batteries. If you have the roof racks, you can put your boards and your toys. I would leave them up there, happy days. And if you option it with the fishing version, you can have rocket launchers for all your rods and gear. Come in central and have a look. Let's check out this Helm before we go forward, because there's heaps going on. So fuel tank in, and I'd say this is water tank. It is water tank in on starboard. Midships cleats, right where you need them. And just pay attention to how much space we have moving around. You know, you could even be mucking around here and other people passing behind you, which is kind of nice. So, come and have a look at this actually. This is kind of funky. You'll see this in other parts of the boat. It's literally for using like clips. You know, those rock climbing clips that people use, and just if you've got a waterproof bag, you just clip it onto here, or your phones or other bits and pieces, and it can just hold it in place when you're ripping along. So that's kind of handy. So Helm is ergonomic, it's funky, and it's not too cluttered. So this is good because we don't have too much reflections coming back in our face. I love how we have this style of phone charger, because it's a contactless charger, but it's going to hold your phone in place as opposed to just sitting it on the dash, which won't work if you get out in the ocean because everything's going to be bouncing around. The other thing I like is having our necessary instruments from horn, our wiper operation, spray, navigation, LEDs, etc., underwater lights and bilges. Having those on individual buttons makes it a lot easier when you're in the ocean, because when you're bouncing around, if you're trying to do these on there, see what I mean? Gets really hard. So you can have your multifunctional displays. These are widescreen Garmin's. As you see, we can split the screen. So therefore, if we want, we could actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 different data feeds on the screen should we wish, or we can just do big widescreen on either side. We still have a drink holder for the skipper, another one for the navigator, and we've actually got our bow thruster on port side. So when you're doing your final maneuvers, we'll cover this in the next video, you can center the wheel and then use your throttle hand for the throttles, and then the steering hand can go down to the bow thruster, and it's all quite natural. And then the next thing, because the access is so good on this boat, this is 100% a one-person operation boat. You do not need to engage someone else to actively drive and park this boat. Handy little glove box in there. You've got your fusion stereo. This is your key start for the motors, but you actually do the push button start on this Mercury throttle, and we've got everything we need because they're the electronic throttles. I didn't point out, just behind the backrest there is actually the battery keys for when you start your day. So we've got a JL audio speakers on either side just here, and let's have a look underneath. Oh, decent storage underneath here, so you can get a few things in here, or maybe a safety grab bag should you need. And this little footrest is handy if you're wanting to plant yourself into the back of the seats, because these seats will go forward and back. Just pay attention, they are actually reducing the size of these handles on future models. This is only the second boat because that protrudes out a little bit, so they're aware of that. However, that's comfy. We've got movement fore and aft, and then you can flip that up and then plant your bum in like so, or press yourself if you're really doing some sporty driving. Couple more speakers there, and you might be able to mount some more instrumentation just here. So with the windscreen, this is the full windscreen version. You can actually option it with a cut windscreen if you wish. So if you want the air, that's possible. And then with the Speedster version, you have no roof at all. I don't see that being popular down here in Florida or in Australia, but I know my mates up in the Nordic countries will be totally into that, because you want all the sun you can get. So come forward, just a couple little things here I like seeing the Wellcraft logo. Before you go, Nick, I want to show everyone, you're 6'2", mate.
I am.
Let's just show everyone, because this is pretty cool. For a 27-foot boat, you know, particularly one big bloke here, we've still got space for more. We can have an optional table. And then can you just stand behind the helm?
Absolutely.
Just quickly show everyone.
Yeah, also,
because
the air vents that go in here.
Exactly, it rips through.
If it's a hot day, you can have them open. If it's a cold day, you just close them up.
Perfect. Okay, I didn't even know about that. So that's super handy. So see how much space at 6'2". You've got good line of sight, and you've got space above your head there, which I like. So that's super cool. So let's come forward and keep it rolling. So this is a major difference compared to basically all the European style adventure boats that are going to be on the market, because they are going to be carrying their beam from here forward. They're really going to be cutting in a lot more. So you do sacrifice social spaces in the bow, and most of them are then turning this into a bit of a sun lounge instead, and you just have less space to work with. So it is what it is. But what Wellcraft have managed to do, we've still got the cutting angle forward, and then they've kept the really super slippery design below the waterline, but they've flared it out a lot more. So a bit more of what you would be familiar with a lot of the American boats, and then it allows us to do this. As you can see, we've got our Yeti underneath. I know you guys call them Yetis, and we call them Eskies, and Kiwis call them chili bins, and I don't know what to call them because I'm traveling everywhere. But that's down there. So we've got our fridge down back. We've got our Yeti up forward. We've got super good access if we're boarding. So if you're boarding on and off the dock, this is great. This is grippy. That's going to be safe. But then if you need to operate the anchor, you can do it from back at the helm, but you've also got a button here, and see how we've got fender storage? So you can actually store the boat's fenders, and then we've got the chain, the windlass, the safety, the clutch, the windlass operation, and then our holding tank out is all done from up here. So it's a super neat little configuration. And then obviously if you're med mooring, this is also potentially going to be a really safe and easy place to get on and off the boat. These are your navigation lights just here. So the LEDs on both sides, same pop-up cleats and the trailer hook on the bow that you'll see from my drone shots. But we've got more storage just here on both sides, and they're both hinged like so. So super handy. Same again on this side, and it's got a magnet that holds it down. So you just have to pull it up, that magnet holds it there. You can see I've got a couple of fenders on this one, and then you pop it down like so, and we have a table that can go in this space, and 1, 2, 3, 4, plus extra fender hooks, another emergency bilge pump just here, speakers, charging point, so you're fully sorted should you need to be. And both the bow and the stern, we've got optional removable poles, and we can have sunshades to bathe this whole area in shade if you need. So much going on. And I don't even know whether a lot of the time you're going to use this fender hook, because I would just be tying fenders on with a line here. So that's just another option should you need. But it doesn't end there, guys. We have a full-on cabin and a toilet down here. So there's a lot going on here, guys. Firstly, there will be another handle in here, and there is going to be, for the next version, an option for this to open just here, just crack open, so you still got visibility forward, and it can provide some airflow for kids. But check out this. Come down these stairs and check out this head compartment. Full stand-up headroom. We were just testing it with Nick, who's 6'2". He can also stand here. So it is stand and pee. I was a little bit worried about some of my drunk friends who might pee on the back here, and they're going to look at fixing that. But underneath here, we've got storage. Underneath here, we've got a beautiful sink for washing your hands. Proper electric flush toilet, so much space. It's voluminous, it's huge. We've got some lights, we've got a throw space on either side. We can see our holding tank indicator just in here, and your toilet operation. But there is an actual little trick to all this. I'm going to put my sunnies down, because this just clips like so, and flips down. And then if you just pull this clip here, this just goes down like so, and this cushion pulls across. And now we've got a massive bed. I'm going to put my feet on the end and just show you how much space you've got. It's huge. So there's actually, I can probably almost lie this way. So this is massive. It's really, really nice down here. We've got this design. Again, I was pointing out before between the helm, it's the same concept. So here and also here allows you to use your carabiners and just basically hook things up and out of the way so we can keep the bed clean and clear should you need. We have access behind to get into the helm. We've got our fuel shutoffs just here. I've got charging 12 volt, 240 or 110 depending on where you are in the world. So that's super, super interesting. And if you basically want to have another cabin, in the Explorer version, which is the cabin version, you can have another full cabin back aft with air conditioning. So isn't that super cool? So look at that. In no time, I've converted this from sleeping cabin to toilet again. And then even when this is closed, we've got a beautiful little window just up here for some natural air, and we've got some ventilation on either side and more pockets up above. But I think the fact that we've managed to fit a proper stand-up headspace in a toilet on a 27, 28 foot boat, that's pretty awesome that we've managed to achieve that, and with the possibility of a second cabin aft if you go for the other version. So that's super cool. So that's the boat, guys. What do you reckon? Jump in the comments, talk to me. I know many of you are Wellcraft fans and owners perhaps, so please get in and talk to me in the comments. Who, in my opinion, after having spent the day on this boat now, will see the most value in becoming an owner of a Wellcraft 28T top or one of the other versions? In my opinion, it's a wide demographic. This boat could appeal to so many people. If you already have a big boat up at your main house in Michigan, in Sydney, in Vancouver or whatever, and you've got a holiday house somewhere else and you want a simple boat that's going to be super capable, ocean capable, and will expand your area of operations, a boat that will rip up the chop and keep everyone dry and comfortable, but also won't be so logistically complex for you to pack it up at the end of the day or pack it up at the end of the season. I'm thinking rack and stack, get it out of the water and forget about it until next summer. This would be a perfect option. If you're also thinking perhaps you needed two boats because the missus wanted something to go cruising on Sunday, but you wanted to fish with the boys on Saturday, well, this could also do both missions. So you may not need to go down that path. If you are looking for a support boat for your bigger boat, 100%, this thing would be great. Like this thing would be great. In Europe, in Australia, in America, it'd be a sweet tender. I love the color option on this particular one as well. So you could probably get creative and match it to your boat. And if you are literally just a fisherman or just a day boat cruiser, you know, if you are, for example, coming out of a bow rider, which is more suited to lake environments, and you now want to explore further afield, but you never did because you were limited by the capability of your hull, that's not a problem now on this boat. So you could potentially stay in the same size range, but have way more capability. So you can go further, cruise faster, be more comfortable and be drier. So I am a fan of this hull, and I think it could be one of the best adventure style offshore hulls that I've been on in 2026. We'll see. I'm not at the end of the year yet, but I'm pretty positive on this one. So how does it drive and what should you compare her to? We're going to cover that in the next video. Link will be on the screen any minute. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please keep participating in the comments. So if you own or are about to own one of these boats, or if you can see some bloke asking a legitimately good question, which I'm seeing a lot these days, and you can help him with the answer if I haven't gotten to it yet, please do so. That's what we're doing here. This is a community. So I want to encourage that because everyone seems to be researching different boat options, and this seems to be a good place to be finding out whatever you need to. So hope that was useful. Love you lots. See you in the next video. Come for a drive and we'll explore this beautiful place, and we won't run into any manatees, guaranteed.